We are going to kick off the Wednesday Web Jam. So welcome to Wednesday Web Jam. Wednesday Web Jam is a space for curious creators, cheeky co-creators and hungry learners and compassionate facilitators. This is a space for people like you. If you're here, you're in the right place. We're really here. I call it our sandbox for learning. And we invite guests to share and introduce topics and to help us think through those topics. And it's great to have you here. Welcome to the space. One of our mottos is failing forward, there is no other way. That means that we need to be kind and be empathetic and be nice to one another in this safe space. It's okay to say funny things and express your opinions, but always do that with grace and kindness. And so what I'd like to do is introduce our guest, my new friend Dhruva. Dhruva is going to tell us about, going to walk us through using design in everyday life. And I've had the pleasure to get to know Dhruva. He's got an amazing background. He's going to tell you about his journey to learning and living the world and the ideals of design. I think is extremely interesting to set up the conversation that we're going to have today about how we can all use design in our lives. And yeah, with that, I'm gonna hand it over to you, Dhruva. Welcome, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mark, for the opportunity to be here, and thank you all to be signed in. And at the part of your days is early in the morning or maybe in the afternoon. It's a Wednesday, it's a working day, and thank you all for joining, taking out time for this. And my name is Dhruva Paknikar, and I'm from India. I'm currently in Pune, in Maharashtra, near Mumbai. And I'll be sharing my screen. So let me just share. Can you give me the access?
You should have it now.
So, so I'll be sharing the screen. Is it visible?
Yep, you're good. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So let me start with a very brief introduction, like 5 minutes. I'll just introduce myself. I'll just introduce my journey so that you can see where I come from. And although I've not figured out the design thinking in daily lives, what I will love to do is plant a seed where everyone can actually think about it at least, and everyone can wonder or ask questions in their daily lives, and how can design be helpful in their daily lives. Even I'm on that journey, exploring new domains and exploring new limits of design. And it's a huge world. It's a huge thing altogether, design thinking. I'm from a school called Nyan Prabodhini. I show this image because it's a very Indian contextual image, and this is actually my school. This is actually the top of my school. And I was in a very young age, while schooling, I was made to ask questions. It is one of the most special schools in the country. So they teach us a lot of logic based and argumentative based questioning towards anything and everything that you go through in life, and how to deal with things in a very retrospective manner, and how to deal with things in an innovative way. So that's where the journey started, I believe, when I was young, very small, to be known to the world. Then I went to MIT Institute of Design, one of the premium institute of designs in India, having tie-ups with many institutes around the world. And MIT being one of the best institutes, I got to learn from the best faculty and best teachers in India. Then I moved to a beautiful city called Paris. There I was at Strat École de Design, where I mastered in, majored in brand and business design and packaging design as well. So in Paris, there are a lot of experiences, a lot of new culture that I was moved to. I always moved to a lot of places there. I saw a lot of things. I saw a lot of different cultures coming together as well in that kind of a big city. Um, I worked with Emmanuel Cairo, one of the most known designers in Paris. He's responsible for the tram, so that this design of the tram is done by him. He's responsible for the metros, the dustbins, and all the public installations in Paris, which are beautiful yet functional and aesthetic. They have a blend of aesthetics and functionality. I got to work with him. I got to work, explore, and do a lot of conceptualization and ideation with him when I was in Paris. Luckily, I landed an internship with the world's one of the biggest manufacturers, furniture manufacturers, IKEA. And you all must be knowing IKEA, being a very innovative and a very kind of an amazing company, amazing stuff they have. So I got to learn a lot about design and actually blending function with minimalism, function with aesthetics, while working with IKEA, while interning at IKEA. And then I moved to a city called London for a while, where from my college, I went there and worked with brands like Rolex. There was a packaging design that we did for Calvin Klein. There was the packaging for English Breakfast, one of the premium tea companies. I met a few startups in London having those needed some design services. Then I did some work for Leela's Kitchen and many other startups like Fire in the Tea and all these things in UK. Then I got one of the biggest opportunities in my life. I got to work with one of the biggest designers, one of the most influential designers, if I must say, Karim Rashid, who is in New York. And I'm the only Indian product designer to work with Karim and be in his 15 people strong team. We worked with, I worked personally, I worked on more than 36 projects in more than 30 countries, and with clients like Pepsi, Alessi, Home, who are the giants in their respective businesses. We did design some amazing spaces, some very aesthetic work, some work which seemed not possible when we were ideating it. I did a lot of furniture. I did a lot of products like this Ecogen bottle, which was launched in Japan in 2015, and some lighting design for our light. So a lot of products oriented work I did. I was a part of the team which designed the Temptations Resort in Cancun, one of the best adult resorts in the world. I was a part of the team which designed the Pepsi Mix It Up campaign, the new Pepsi identities and their new bottles with the Pepsi design team. So it was an amazing experience. I was exposed to a different world altogether. So in India, it is more of a hands-on innovation, hands-on problem solving there and there. And in Europe, it's mostly a lot of aesthetics. It's given a weightage, and in US it's a huge consumer market. So the consumer is the king. So having said that, I run a company called Dominix Global Design, and we have an office in New Jersey. Right now we have an office here in Pune. It's the headquarters. We have an office in Mumbai and one office in Douglas in the Isle of Man. And we have a channel presence in 7 countries, including we have a channel presence in Paris. One is Germany. Then Indonesia is there, Malaysia is there, Australia is there, Canada, and so more than 7 countries we have the channel presence. So I won't bore you much about what I'm doing right now, or I don't want to advertise the company here. We are here for a very special topic, and a thing which is close to my heart, because right from when I was young, when I was in the school. A lot of people taught me how to think critically, how to solve problems, how to innovate in very small ways. Luckily, I'm in a business where I can innovate for big companies having bigger impacts, and doing it globally so that it can have an impact on a lot of people. So the main thing was the smaller impacts, the smaller changes in the lifestyle, the smaller things which actually change our lives a little bit. And I guess that's what I'm here to talk about. So as I said, in India, a lot of problem solving or instant innovation is done. So India is known for as a country where there is a lot of sustenance with the people. They tend to use anything till its last point, last breath. There is a very less use and throw culture. There is very less consumerism in that aspect, and people tend to use things for a larger amount of time. Traditionally, there are a lot of things which are used till its end, and a lot of uses are done from one thing. So in India, if anything happens, like if there is any problem or any thing which is broken, we tend to fix it, not throw it away and buy new things. We tend to fix it in a very smart, fast, innovative manner. So you see the problem and you fix it, and that's what we call as jugaad. And jugaad is one of the key words that every Indian uses in any problem. Indian people say, "Kuch jugaad kar lete hai." That means let's do some jugaad. That means that let's improvise on things. Let's improvise things a little bit so that we can use them more. So we tend to use the paste in a toothpaste from the cover till its last millimeter, till its last end. So I'll show some of the examples of jugaad. One of them is this. So this is a place where you need to hang things vertically so that they stay in the place. So they have used the spike guard, and they have just pasted a hanger to it so that it can be hung. So what they eliminated was the actual calling an electrician to actually put a switchboard there. And instead of that, they have used this really smart hack that we can call. So it's a spike guard, this thing, hanger thing. So it's one of the examples. The second example is a consumer example, which is this guy, he needs to transport things, and these kind of vehicles are not permitted in India, or these kind of vehicles are not made in India. So basically what he did was fabricated a trolley to a cycle, and he uses it in his daily day. Then a lot of things like this. There are a lot of slippers that are manufactured and sold in India, and almost every slipper breaks at the point of your thumb, and that's how. But just by using one big thread, a big plastic thing, we save this slipper from being thrown away, and we use it again. So this is one of the prime examples of jugaad. A few like out of the blue examples of jugaad is this. So so usually in India, in the lower economic houses, the switchboards are at a certain height, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, and they need to charge their mobile phones, because India is the biggest consumer of mobile phones and electronics. So there is no provision for that. So something like this is done. There are a lot of shoes that people wear, and this is kind of a jugaad that is done. This is something different. This is actually a Sprite ad. But again, if you see, a smart way of taking a shower is shown in here. One more things that I recently captured this photo was when India got demonetized. So the notes, the currency notes in India were banned, few of the currency notes, and India shifted a lot to a online payment gateway. So everyone used their phones and UPI payments to actually pay the vendors, and the need of a wallet was suddenly gone. But yet, there were some places where you need to pay some cash. Some transactions were done in cash. So actually, carrying a wallet and a phone was too heavy for the pockets. So this was a jugaad that Indians did. So every phone has a cover in India. So they just slid the currency notes under the cover, and that's how they used to carry they do carry the phones. Almost one of five Indians have something like this, a daily hack which is there, which saves money, which saves the efforts to carry a wallet, and your phone is always with you, so it saves the chance of theft as well. I guess this should be used in Italy, these techniques, because phone is there every time in your hands. So what I talked about was something that was used daily, and something that was there, something that is there in our daily lives as Indians. And I've also witnessed a lot of jugaad being done in Europe in different ways. A lot of jugaad being done in US as well, in Singapore and many cities where there are many resources, but there is less time. And this is a start. I might say this is a start of innovation. This is something that is to do with problem solving. This is creating something else. So everyone is creative, and everyone is actually getting more and more creative with this jugaad thing. Similar things with empathy. Many big companies use in their daily these things. So I'll talk about the experience and the empathy part of it. So I talked about the jugaad or the instant innovation part of it. I'll talk about the experience and empathy part of it. So a few years back in around 2006, 2007, you might all have experienced this, and you might have went to a phone shop. You might have gone to a phone mobile shop to actually buy a new handset of a mobile, which you paid a lot of money for at that time, and it was a huge investment. It was a huge purchase at that time, and everyone was excited to buy a new phone. Everyone is excited to get the hands on the new phone. People go to the shops. Unlike these days, everything is online, but people actually used to go to shops to buy new phones. They used to try out the models that were there in the shops, and they used to purchase the phones. What they got were boxes of the phones, and majority of them used to come with the boxes. They came home, and once they opened the boxes, the excitement of actually having a new phone and actually experiencing the new phone was dead because of this. So one of the things that happened was this. So anyone who bought a new phone, opened the box, they were excited to see the phone, how it looks, what kind of apps they can use, what kind of screensavers they can put on. And the phone company showed that, yeah, you have to charge the battery at the night first. You have to charge the battery for 24 hours, and then you can use the phone. So that was an experiential loss. That excitement was killed by these companies. And this was noticed by one of the designers who designed the iPhone, Tony Fadell. And this was a very small experience. It was a very small thing in terms of the phone life and the technology and all these things. But he actually empathized with the people. He actually empathized with the experience the people actually got. And he said that this is not right. I must deliver a phone which can be instantly put on, and people should experience that phone. So the iPhone that was there, the first iPhone that was there, it came charged. So they charge the iPhone in the factories, and they run some tests on the phone, so that the tests are also run. And when you open a phone, 70-80% battery was there. You could actually unveil the phone in your own choice. You can actually set the wallpaper, customize and personalize the phone at the very instance you open the box. And that experience actually helped Apple a lot. It actually helped a company like Apple to be the leader in that industry. So things like this, things like smaller things like this, the innovative things like this, or the design thinking behind that is a very important process. So so what is design thinking? So now we talked about experience, we talked about empathy, we talked about the instant innovation or direct problem, the approach of direct problem solving, jugaad. And so there is a design thinking methodology that I like to tell. So one, you see some problem, you see some unease in your daily lives, then you empathize. So the second part of the process is empathy, which is the empathy towards the consumer. So even if the consumer is you, or maybe your spouse, or maybe your siblings, or maybe your parents, or maybe anyone besides them, so that consumer empathy should be checked. The surrounding empathy should be checked. So who all will be affected by the decisions that you're taking, it should be empathized with and noted that. Then having this empathy, having the direction, knowing the problem, you tend to ideate things. So you tend to ideate a solution. There are a lot of ideas that come in your mind while tackling the solution, and that is where the ideation part is there. And then you actually prototype that idea. So you have an idea to do something, and you actually try to prototype it, you try it out, and then you test it. And after the test, the problem or the unease that was there, it must go, or you are trying to solve that unease and solve that problem. So if it still exists, the whole process is followed again and again and again, and you try to correct the problem, you try to improvise on the solution, and create new ideas around it. And that's how the innovation happens in right from your day-to-day routines, day-to-day tasks, to actually big companies like Apple and Samsung and Nike and whatnot. So the process that the innovation goes through is usually this. What happens in our daily cases is, we have a problem, we directly try to prototype a solution, we try to get to a solution without empathizing and without ideating, and that's where it causes more problems. So that's where the design thinking thought process comes in. So the empathy and the ideation part of it is actually in the design process.
Right.
So I'll give you one of my examples in my home. So just excuse me for a bit. Sorry.
I hope that's water you got there, Dhruva.
Yeah. The bottle is different, but the water is water.
Right.
So and I guess everyone has a bed like this at home. So this is a small room. I have a good IKEA bed, and usually this is how it is kept. And usually I work till 9:30, 10 in the night. I have some dinner, and at home or somewhere out, and I'm super tired, super exhausted by the daily routine I have. And the only thing that I want to do when I go home, the only thing that I wish to do is just crash on this bed like this, right? So it's the same with my wife, who is also a businesswoman, and she also has the hectic routines, and we want to just crash on the bed. And it's a very small problem, but I'm giving it as an example because we have these kind of small problems every day, and we need to tackle them through design thinking and through empathy, right? So this is a huge problem for me, at least, When I go home, I crash on the bed. I can't take the comforter, and this happens every time when you go to a hotel. You want to bounce on that bed, and that comforter, that everything is tucked in so tightly that you need to pull it off, and that kind of a problem is always there on the bed. So this was the problem statement for me. This was the start point of a small innovation, small crafting that we did. So after this, I actually felt that unease, felt that problem grabbing that, and putting it all over me when I'm so tired, when I don't want to actually, but I have to eventually, because at night it gets cold, and you need that. You don't want to have searching the comfort at night. So this is a empathy that I got towards me. I saw my schedule, I saw the surroundings, I saw what kind of how I want to crash on the bed, how my wife wants to crash on the bed. So I empathize with her as well. So if at all I would have put this comforter on the right side, I would have taken it easily. But my wife also sleeps on the same bed, and even she has that same problems. She wants to have that same empathy. And we did something like this was the ideation. That a lot of ideations were done, and this was something that was done in the morning, so that I can actually crash on the bed. And it was very easy to pull that from my end, then pull that from her end, and we could get underneath the blanket very easily. So it was just I guess a minute I saved through the entire exercise, and but it saved me a lot of trouble in my head. And that was the testing of the prototype that we did. And this is how you empathize, and this is the end result. And I was happy having that end result, tucking in and sleeping, right? So this is a very small daily task that we all do. I hope everyone sleeps like this. I hope everyone at certain point is tired and wants to crash on the bed, and after they crash on the bed, they have to do a lot of struggles while taking on the blankets and all these things. And this is a small hack that we did. It's a small jugaad that we did with that empathy. And this is what the end of empathy looks like. So this is the ease that is there, that I was talking about. So solving that unease is what makes us creatives every day. And that is how the process is the same for solving the bigger problems, solving a problem at a corporate level. And even products are designed that way, or even things that we use are designed that way. So I talked about a problem, I talked about a solution, a jugaad that Indians did. So on the left side, you see a phone cover. Underneath that phone cover is a 100 rupee note that people use here. And that's how a company called Daily Objects, one of the biggest companies in India, came up with a cover that had that pocket, and they could keep cards, could keep cash. A lot of people in the US also use this. It's a big thing now. Even Apple has gotten a cover where the battery goes in and it charges the phone, and otherwise you can keep cards and everything in. So it is a very small thing. So when you actually directly prototype or directly get to a solution from a problem, the things like the 100 rupee note, the left side happens. But when you go through the empathy, when you empathize with the customer, when you empathize with the people, that they have to keep a card, they have to keep maybe a driver's license, they have to keep some coins, maybe some notes. And then the things are designed in such a way that it can accommodate the surroundings, it can have that feel as well. So if you see the right object, it has that kind of a leather feel, which is good to your, soothing to your hands, which the note and the cards can go in. And you can actually, it has that kind of a design where you can actually take out the cards very easily, you can actually pay on tap and all these things. So even in the bigger life, bigger companies, these kind of solutions are based out of the Jugaad as well. The only difference is the process of direct prototyping versus the empathy and ideation and the prototype.
So Dhruva, why don't we ask the audience for examples?
Yes. So coming to that slide. So
yes,
if anyone has a similar experience that you have solved in your daily lives, maybe your desk, maybe your bathroom, maybe anything, please, I would like to hear, and we can talk about the design thinking process in that aspect.
Does anybody have an example of how you've used design in your everyday life? Silence is okay. We can wait.
I'd love to hear experiences.
Hi. I don't have anything on top of my head that I've done, but I've seen something which I feel in India is very common, but it's quite innovative. So in India, we have these cycle rickshaws. So it's got a cycle and then it's got like a seat at the back. And unfortunately, the man, pedaling the cycle is pulling two people sitting on the seat. So during the winter or during the rain, what a lot of these rickshaw pullers do is that they just take an umbrella and they just like sellotape it to the stand. And it becomes like an umbrella and they go on, and it's so common, and and nobody's really innovated it to be something that could work as a product. But yeah, it's something that I see every season and I'm quite amazed.
Yeah, one of the jugaads that we do.
Yeah.
So if anyone has a problem statement also, even that is fine, we can try to solve it.
Dhruva, I will try to explain a situation that I have in my shopping mall. I am a CEO from the main shopping mall here in São Paulo, Brazil. Okay,
Oh, wow.
And around 5 p.m. all days, a lot of people stopped in front of the entrance, the main entrance of the shopping mall, with the mobile on the hands and touch something, but just in front, outside of the shopping mall, okay? But people outside of the shopping mall is not sales of the stores of the shopping mall, okay? And I use this to discover what's the people are doing. And I start to ask people, what I say, no, I'm doing a work to the shopping mall. I was hired to do to know more about the clients. And the people say, no, here is the safe place of the city to know the other people, because I'm using the Tinder. Do you know the Tinder app to know people? Yes.
Oh.
The shopping mall is the best. The entrance of your shopping mall is the good place, but just the entrance. Then I call the McDonald's, the Burger King, the Taco Bell, all the stores on the food court. Oh, send a lot of message on the video that I have a main video in the front of the shopping mall to invite the people to do the encounter inside of the shopping mall. The sales this time 5 p.m. until 7 p.m. increased more than 25%.
Wow.
I use the design thinking to the empathy to understand the problem of this kind of people. Okay, this is my case. Okay, Dhruva.
Indeed. Amazing. That's how companies, I guess, increase their sales.
Yeah, I want to ask everybody what is it that makes what Danny, your story, different than Jugaad? or as Warren, you were talking about, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So when you're just trying to solve a problem, right, versus what Danny did, what is the difference?
There wasn't a pre-existing problem.
So I think the difference is Danny could have actually put a sign board where you can't stop here or something like that, but he actually empathized with the customers, and he got to know that these are the points which can actually be of the shopping malls use, and he used those points to actually get the customers in the shopping mall instead of putting a board where you can't be standing here, or you're not allowed to stand here or something like that. And actually he, with that empathy, he I guess he made that people come in and do the shopping, increase the sales a little bit. And that's a really good example of design thinking in business.
Yes, and a lot of people stopped in front of my shopping mall. I have to keep the safety, the guard to safety. I have to maintain cleaning. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a problem that I have to solve. Okay.
Yes.
Or you were going to say something.
Yeah. Actually, it's a multiple win-win-win situation. Actually, Danny looked on both sides. From the business point of view of the mall, from the business point of view of the mall's tenants, the fast food providers, and also from the people's customers' point of view. So why don't you meet inside? You have a drink and you have a coffee as well. You get together. It's not raining. It's not too hot. It's AC. Everything's fine. And you guys, the fast food, I will bring you in front of you people, so you can sell them directly, and in this way raised I suppose the appreciation of the fast food guys to Danny and to the mall, that and you also solved the problem of the cigarettes down another dirt in front of the entrance,
and buying a gift to the other one. Okay.
Yeah.
But so that's great. One of the things that I'm noticing. Go ahead, Jorge.
It's an experience. Design with a service design.
So you're using these words, and actually Dhruva introduced words in the way he depicted the design thinking process in a way. And I'm wondering if any of you, I don't know, Danny, for example, did you say to yourself, I'm going to use design thinking, or did you just use your intuition to have a conversation with the people outside your shopping mall? Did you say I'm going to do design thinking on this? You did.
Yes, because I used the empathy interview to know more about more than 30 minutes with each one. It's not, oh, you do this, you do that. No, say what are you doing here? Okay, just to
find the problem.
Yes, to know the problem. No, to invite people to be inside of the shopping mall. Okay.
Were they really open to answer you?
Sorry, Donna, please.
Were they really open to answer you, to have a conversation with you?
Yeah, a lot of people. Brazilians loves to talk with people. It was easy to do this, okay? And it's very funny because I have more than 1 million per month in my shopping mall. It's a lot of people. Imagine that we have 12 million inhabitants in São Paulo and 1 million in my shopping mall.
Wow.
In the main avenue of the city. It's incredible. And when we invite the people, let's visit us to know more about our shopping mall, not the entrance, just the entrance. Okay, was good. Was was good to sales of the food, the flowers, the gift, a lot of things. Okay.
Yeah. So I was going to say that if Tinder was a prime reason to actually people coming to the entrance of your shopping mall, you could have put in flowers and gifts inside, so that when
Yes.
they match, they can actually go inside and buy some flowers for the dates they are going to meet.
Buy rings and then propose, and problem solved. Who's next?
Yes. Any other stories about using design in your life or in your work, whether it's your private life or your work life?
We use it where I'm working. Design. Dhruva, I love your presentation, by the way. I love the concept, and I've written lots of notes on Jugard. Thank you. I work for the US government, and we're very monolithic and bureaucratic, and design thinking has been a great way to introduce new ideas to challenge conventional thinking. So it's like a system of systems. We have to design the design thinking because it's so powerful, it can almost seem like a mutiny or it's very challenging. So we have to treat it very carefully in this closed system. So it's helped us create change before we ever get to a product or an actual, change system. And so that alone has been powerful.
Yeah.
Great.
One of the things that I was kind of trying to tease out is how when you use design thinking or human-centered design, this is something that I learned in my journey to being a design thinker, if you will, is that there's language around it, right? It's interesting that I think people do aspects of design thinking or human-centered design. Many of us will have done it intuitively without knowing anything about the language or some sort of double diamond or other framework, right? But that having the language and having the framework, it actually helps you understand the design process, right? That's what it kind of is all about, the framework, and whichever, hexagons or diamonds or whatever you're using, or circles or infinite loops. It's all about trying to get you to see the bigger picture of design. And then there are different specific terms that are really important. And one of the things, Danny, you did is you had insight, right? You were able to get insight, but you got insight from curiosity, which was the empathy building part of it, right? And now when we say these words, we all know, oh yeah, that's part of, those are important words for design thinking. But I think a lot of people like Anupa, your rickshaw driver, probably copied somebody else who had sellotaped the umbrella. But the first person,
it's quite a culture.
Yeah, the first person to do that must have said, what can I do? What can I do to solve this problem? The question is, did that person go through any kind of process to do that consciously? Maybe, maybe not. But that's I think part of the power of design, and I've seen it in my personal life, like where I've actually used it in my personal life, explicitly and implicitly, is knowing what the steps are and the importance of these different aspects. I just wanted to throw that out there because I think it's part of what Dhruva and I were talking about as we were preparing this, is like, okay, yeah, what does design in your everyday life actually mean? And when do you use it? And as a design thinker, if you are, and that's what you practice, do you even know that you're doing it, right? Are you consciously thinking about that process, or is it just happening? I'm going back on mute.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point that we raised, is that I feel intuitively when we, like how Danny, when you identify an area, you probe, and that's where the insight and the research comes in, and it's a very natural process. And then you directly kind of go into, okay, how do I solve it? So you have the test and prototype, like you have something, you're trying to mix and match and you're trying to create something. And then once it's done, and that's a very, organic process. Like, it's not really something that people think in terms of, in terms of like what a design process with, and then you come up with a solution. So I think insight, behavioral, adaptation with, some sort of thinking and process mechanism kind of brings this, Jugaad process alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayne.
Yeah, so I have a rule of thumb that if people are involved in the problem, then you've got to start with the design thinking. So just last week, I helped organize an innovation conference, right? And it's like, well, we have to design an experience that people want to have, right? And so we use design thinking in the design of a conference experience. Another really current example, a company wants to, quote unquote, digitize everything. It's like, well, there are people doing things now, they're getting the job done somehow, right? So if you want to digitize, you need to go on and understand who those people are, how do they do their work, what are the pain points we have? And again, this is just kind of, repeating some of Dhruva's points, but that's a human-centered design process, even though there's not like a widget, right? You can't point to your phone, right? But again, designing that now newly digitized system, right? That's design thinking. So that's my mantra, right? If there are people involved, start with design thinking. There's plenty of other tools you can use, down the line.
So the whole aspect of this was design thinking is fondly known nowadays in businesses, in government, like Warren said, in governments and these kind of organizations, design thinking is being there, and people are trying to practicing design and design thinking, human-centric design. The whole point of this this whole conversation is businesses are practicing. So even Dani's, he got good returns on his business when he used design thinking, right? Similarly, I believe that design is everywhere. Design is in the smallest details, is in our smallest experiences of life. We are humans. We live in a community where there are other humans as well, and actually that empathy, actually that ideation through the empathy and actual design process, if we use it in our daily tasks, like the example I showed, like the bed, or if we at least try to think about that, it will change the world for us in our daily experiences and daily lives. So the main task or the main takeaway from this conversation, if I must say, is should be you all think about design thinking at least when you're going through a experience, or facing some small problems, may it be like the bed, but in any kind of a problem, that this kind of thought process is an important, the question answered, the question asked is important, and that's why we are having this conversation. So I'd like to also hear about any small problems that you have, so that we can talk it and try to solve it through design thinking process.
But we're going to have a half an hour for what we call the backstage, for those of y'all who haven't been here, so we can maybe jump into those things. Any last questions for Dhruva about his presentation, or thoughts about today's session? Anybody? Okay, cool. Well, what I'm going to do is I will slowly wrap things up for today's session. Dhruva, I want to thank you so much for this stimulating conversation. I think it's really dives into a lot of what many of us are interested in this community. and really appreciate you taking the time to sort of facilitate the conversation and introduce the conversation for us to have. And we will have more time after we get to the top of the hour or the bottom of the hour where you are, Dhruva and Anupa. But I'm going to really quickly hand it over to Anupa to introduce our next jam session and our next guest. Anupa.
Yeah, so we have Phil Balaktas, who's basically working with a lot of speculative futures. That's his main area of focus. And what he's going to be talking about, like, how do we build regulations and policies into the speculative future that we're, living in right now, and especially with the metaverse coming in and, other different areas of, speculative spaces. How is it that we bring this kind of like behavior into it, and what are the how do we manage it? So that's what he's going to be talking about. So do join us. I think it'll be quite it'll be quite an innovative and immersive experience to see how we imagine ourselves in the next, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, and how would we live.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that. I love the sort of foresight and futures things. We've had some other guests that have talked about that. It's going to be very interesting. So that'll be the 30th of November. That's next Wednesday, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Wednesday Web Jam. Cool. Awesome. A couple of last little points to cover, and then we'll go to the backstage. If you have an idea or for either yourself or another guest that we would that you'd like to see featured here on Wednesday Web Jam, please do let us know. And Donna has helpfully put the short link to that in the chat. You can copy and paste that or open and submit an idea. Our team of curators will get back to you as soon as we can. We have a backlog, so we kind of go through those and figure out dates and all that kind of stuff. So be patient with us. We're all volunteers. If you would like to learn more about Wednesday Web Jam and keep up with what's going on, you can always find us on our website as well as on our social media. This is the team of volunteers. Many of us have been around for a while. We have some new faces and some new crew members. If you want to help, let us know, raise your hand. We always need more volunteers. And lastly, this is not a hat in the hand type of thing, but this is, if you want to give us a tip for today, we usually just raise a little bit of money to pay for the license fees for Zoom and for MailChimp and a few other things. Nobody's making any money, trust me. You can give us a little donation if you like. I think the minimum is $3, so that's perfectly fine if you'd like to do that. And with that, I will stop the recording and stop my sharing, and I will thank you all for coming to the Wednesday Web Jam, and we will see you hopefully again at next jam. We're going to go to the backstage now. Goodbye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube.